Wayne is with us today. So Wayne and Kerry have done some data around the ROI of marketing. So say hi, Wayne, just in case nobody knows you. They've been living under a rock.
Hello, everybody. I didn't realise I was a spectator on this, but hello, everyone.
Sorry, Wayne.
Kerry did, yeah.
I'm used
Kerry
to
did his Kerry did his hair. I also think Neil is here. Neil Kemp, are you here? No. Okay. Well,
yeah, he is there. He's muted. Hang on, I'll unmute you, Neil.
Oh, thanks for unmuting me.
That's brilliant. Literally, that's brilliant.
You were ready for that, Neil, were you?
No, wasn't.
So yeah, nice to get your clothes on. Neil is the legend who does all of our video content. So it'd be nice for you to just hear from him about. You've even got a mug to prove it. Because we have an issue about some of the people just doing all of their content on their phones. So say less and say it better. I also love the fact that Neil combs his hair with a flannel as well. So that's good. Right.
Well, you taught me everything I know about that, right?
I know, perfect. So look, we'll crack on with this. I'm delighted that there's a full-blown presentation here. Guys, do you want questions at the end? Do you want to run through everything?
Yeah, if that's all right. The chat we'll leave open as well. So if people do want to, if they think of something, they can add it to the chat and we can always answer that at the end as well.
Okay. And do you know how I feel about marketing? That everyone right now should be turning marketing up. So hopefully that's the conclusion that we get to at the end of this. Yep. Katey, thank you very much. Really appreciate you giving up your time. It's my last gig of the week. I'm desperate for a vodka. Over to you.
Okay, right. I'm just going to share my screen then. So let's go on to this. Right. Can you all see the presentation on the screen now? Yep. Thumbs up? Yeah. Okay. Don't worry, it's not death by PowerPoint by any means with regards to this. More kind of pointers for James and I that we've put together to kind of discuss as we move through things. From my perspective, I know you would have, or you should have all received the marketing pack that we put together just to help you guys out. So I'm going to be kind of referring to that quite a bit. For anybody that doesn't have it, give me a shout at the end and I can forward it on. Okay, so I thought we'd start off with Wayne. Sorry, Wayne.
Which is news to him.
Give a bit of a background on the kind of ROI that you see from your marketing, just to give people a feel.
Okay, so I've ripped all this off from our year-end presentation we did at Christmas. So this is measured over last year, 2019. We haven't really been measuring much of our marketing activities in the last couple of weeks and months, but this gives a pretty good indication of the sort of ROI that we're sort of seeing. So just talking through, so the first figure, 47%. So inbound marketing is the conversion of inbound marketing leads and vacancies is the highest we have. So we convert pretty much 1 in 2 inbound inquiries that we kind of get into our business. We convert them to actual cash as well. So it's the highest that we have over any other lead generation we've got in the business. But the most positive thing is of those leads coming through, pretty much a quarter of those, the clients buy our premium products. So we've got a premium product called Edge, which is our retainer service. And again, to put that in perspective, our average fee when we sell a product is double that of our normal fees in terms of our normal contingency fees. So I think that's pretty good. So it's just showing the investment, the ROI that we're certainly seeing from marketing. Moving that forward, pretty much 3 out of 4 of those clients that we kind of convert give us another job or repeat business again within 3 months of us placing that vacancy. And then roughly last year, and this is only looking at new business, it's only looking at the inbound new business that we measure for marketing. But for every £1 that we spend on marketing, we're seeing about £2.50, give or take, return on that sort of spend. So for us, it's massively worth it. And I'm pretty sure and we don't measure this actually, we don't measure the impact of marketing on our existing customers and our repeat business from legacy house accounts. But you know, if we did do that, or if we had a way of measuring that, and I would suspect that ROI is significantly greater. So that is just looking at new business, and yeah, for me, it's a great source of revenue, and I class our marketing team now almost as well of equal value as what our consultant team are. You know, because they play a massive part in terms of generating inbound inquiries into our business, which are helping us sell our products and services. And what we are seeing when we're looking at, when we're investigating this as well, and we're looking at the activity of our prospects and our clients coming to us, we're seeing a lot of the decisions made on whether they want to work with us, whether they want to buy certain products, made before they even make an inquiry into the company, which is what we all do anyway. You know, whenever any one of us are buying anything online, we always investigate it, check it out, look at reviews, etc. So that's helping massively. Hence the reason why our conversions are pretty high, albeit 1 in 2. I still think we can get that higher, and it's something that we probably just need to work on internally in terms of converting and closing those out. But yeah, I think that was something from last year. We measured that over a year period. So I think the stats are pretty solid as well, pretty accurate. They're not just a month by month sort of review. It's over a 12-month period.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Thanks for that. I think it's good. It's as a bit of a scene setter, isn't it, for everything that we're going to be sort of discussing as we move through what we've put together for today. So thank you, Wayne, for that. I'm just going to move on. Okay, so from my perspective, I wanted to kind of touch on the core things that I felt that people should be doing now and continuing to do now, that are really key to make sure that you don't lose your kind of spot in the market. So the first thing that we're telling everybody is just to carry on as normal with your core foundations. Your social media, you can still be planning ahead. Review things that are scheduled. So if you're one of these really organized people that have got stuff scheduled in, obviously dates, events have been cancelled, make sure you go forward and review everything that's been planned in. Same goes for any campaigns. There's no reason to not run campaigns, but it might just be about adapting them and adapting the messaging within them. So just be mindful of that. And we're saying, if you're doing your social media yourself, 10 minutes a day for you to kind of find relevant updates is probably enough. So time-wise, just to kind of build that into whatever it is you're doing. I know it's really hard because a lot of people don't see it as a business generator, but you need to maintain. There's nothing worse than going to people's social platforms and then being out of date, because of it just looks like you're not active in your space. Something that I know that a lot of you have done a huge amount of work on as well, but is around mapping your niche. A lot of people are still kind of selling to everybody or worrying that in times of COVID that they need to kind of broaden their horizons, where actually there is still space within your niches. So developing those niches, developing those one-liners. I mean, this is just an example of one that we use for an IT client. So thinking about what it is that you deliver and the solutions that you deliver, and then trying to break that down into a nice little one-liner that you can use. So the example I've used there is, this IT company is helping businesses achieve and maintain IT compliance through a complete done-for-you service. So putting thought into what your niche kind of could be, or what your niche slogan could be. We cover this off in the marketing pack, so in more detail. So I'm only doing a bit of a whistle stop now, but definitely something that people should be considering and moving towards. The next part is about being clear about your offering, and this is where James is going to come in and talk about like the importance of productization, which will help people make the sale easier for people. A little bit like what Wayne was saying about them enhanced products. So James, did you want to?
Yeah. So if you jump in, if I give a sort of wave for the slide. So Gary, feel free to jump in. Gary, this is, I don't want to steal your thunder, but I just wanted to run over productization, because there's a strong connection between having a clear set of products and messaging in your marketing. Because once you've actually made the effort of articulating what your products are, your marketing will be so much more powerful because you've actually got something to say and something to sell. So why do it? You have a clear offer. It helps you move to the solutions and consultancy of Recruitment 4.0, and it gives you structured delivery, which you can also organize with your sales teams as well. So there's a strong argument for creating your products. What do you have to do? Create your suite of products covering all your services. Create clear features, benefits and fees for each of your products, covering your perm, contract, bundles and statements of work. And then putting it all together, make sure you've got compelling names, avoid gold, silver, bronze for your product names, because that kind of like stigmatizes all your higher and lower level stuff. So it's much better to have a clear set of brand names for your products that relate to your clients and your service. Create a product PDF. Make sure that's very clear on your website that your client offering around products. Ensure your staff have been trained and they're incentivized to sell this stuff, because just creating a range of products on its own won't sell the products. Wayne, I don't know if you've got any thoughts on that, you know, when you're rolling out your products, you've got to make sure the staff believe and understand and can be trained to deliver those products too.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably one of the hardest bits, really. And it's something that we struggled with at the start. We spent a few quid on getting nice brochures. We updated our website and did little videos and explainers, and it just started to sell itself. But our staff just weren't up for selling it. So you know, one of our products is in essence video interviewing and doing retained stuff, which is pretty standard today. Most people are doing that sort of stuff, but our consultants really didn't want to do it. They thought it was extra work for not much more fee, so they weren't up for selling it. So we had to almost force the issue. So we tried the old incentivizing piece, and that worked to a certain degree, and then it kind of dropped off. And we just have to just practice it literally all the time, you know, literally standing up in the office, getting people to practice it and pitch it over and over and over again. And even today, and looking at our stats that I said there, we convert 1 in 2. I think that could be significantly higher. We're still working on it all the time. So, how
long would you say that's taken you to get from creating your products to your staff really getting bought in and selling it?
it's ongoing. Yeah, we're not there. You know, it's just an ongoing thing. Yeah, it's like anything, isn't it? You know, if you stop talking about it, people forget about it and don't do it. So you just got to constantly keep mentioning it and mention it every single day.
Hey, thanks, Wayne.
Can I mention something on this?
Yeah.
So we always say avoid gold, silver, and bronze, because it looks like that's levels of service.
Yeah.
Whereas each one of your products should be answering one of your clients' specific issues. So each one of your products is fit for purpose for a certain thing. That is marketing gold, because you can start by prompting the issue and then offering a solution. So is this one of your problems? Are you frustrated about this? And you've got an answer to it. So that gives you so much collateral that's very positive, and people don't mind receiving information like that. And if you're worried about how many times you should touch one of your clients or prospective clients a week, you know, if you can do it 4 times a day, if it's relevant, if it's interesting, if it's sexy. But you know, if you start talking gibber to them, then they'll fall out of love with you very, very quickly. And also, one of the things that's missing here, and one of the things that James has been really good at, if you're going to have like an e-brochure or a PDF that you put in front of your customer to try and explain what it is you do, because it's quite difficult for your guys to sell a product when they don't quite get it.
I've got that on the next slide, Gary.
Oh, shut up then.
Should we go to the next slide, Katey?
Fucking asked me to get involved, and then just me shut up.
Oh, here we go. So here's an example, Blue Peak Railways, ERG, I don't think they're on the call. So what we've done, we made sure that there's a clear product brochure. You can see the content area there, all the products mapped out, all with their own names, all introduce what they're covering. So mission critical, multiple perm hires, classical perm hires, contingency, outcome-based solutions, statement of work, multiple interim, and classic contract. So we're making it very clear there's a whole portfolio of products. They're all named and they're all very clear. And then the product brochure itself lists each product. It's got a description, as Gary's saying, what problem does it solve? What are the features you're going to get of this service? What are the benefits to you as a client, and what are the fees and options around it? So every product is very clear. And then, as myself and Wayne have mentioned, making sure it's rolled out with staff training. But I appreciate what Wayne's saying there. Staff training isn't a one-off event to get this embedded. It's an ongoing process. Yep.
And the infographic is the piece that you sell. If you're speaking to someone about the process, you don't use the words. And it's really easy to teach people then how to sell this, because you just use one diagram and it tells you the next bit to speak about. It's a work of genius.
Just backing that up, that the PDF on its own will rarely bring in the business. It has to be supported by the sales activity. Katey, next slide, please. So as Gary was saying, once you've got your products, you can feed into your marketing and your messages. So, you know, if you're doing automated campaigns, you can have your welcome email, and then you can have your product offering, and you could, you know, a separate email per product offering if you would wish. Then you could have a case study. So if you've got a case study where you've sold a statement of work, and you can link that to your email marketing related to your product offering, it's all joined up, and then maybe show some candidate profiles that match what you've been selling on those products. On top of that, sorry,
can I just mention, and on the case study, I don't know if Danny Herbert's on this call, but the case study that he did about his incubator product, and he spoke to the guy from America, that single video was worth 1,000 pages or emails or tweets. It was absolutely spectacular, and just by sending that to prospects, it made sense. So again, think about at what point you use video, but do it professionally, really professionally.
And just and I say, just factor it into your sales and marketing activity. So as I say, you know, if you've got content, case studies that support those products, I've said here, you might have an e-brochure or a blog, how statement of work is changing and saving costs in your particular sector, and you're showing your expertise around a product you're selling. Katey, what's next?
Okay, so that kind of leads on to the next thing really, which I was just going to touch on, which was about mapping your purchase funnel. And so this is something that everyone should be doing for all of your sales funnels, so including existing customers. Again, we cover it off in more detail in the pack, but the idea being that you map out this kind of journey that you lead the customers down, and that's when you need to start thinking about this content bank. So a little bit like James was saying, you need to have the stuff in your back office to be able to use to push them down the 3 different stages of the purchase funnel, which are awareness, which is where they won't even be aware that they need your services or products at that stage. Consideration, so they might be comparing using, say, an in-house resource over using an agency to recruit, or trying to do it themselves to purchase, where they're comparing you against your competitors. So you need to have all of the pains that that person will be going through mapped out. And then what you can do is produce content that answers those pains and gives them the solution. And that's your key to kind of selling within those different areas. And so building that content bank is going to be really, really vital. And again, I'm not selling the pack is free, but within the pack, we've given you the tools to be able to work out exactly where your customers' pains are, and also to adapt them to COVID-19 as well, because people's issues may slightly differ from now and then in another year's time. And so it's just really key to keep doing that as you move forward and adapt it to whatever situation you're in. And we'll come on to the end of like opportunities, but I think that that's a really key thing that everybody needs to be thinking about. Because what you'll do, once you build all of this content, you can start to build those automated funnels and automated lead funnels. So this is where you can use things like landing pages. But if you have something of real high value to your customers, a piece of content, and whether it's a pack or access to some training videos or something that's really relevant to them, especially right now, then you can build that within what's called a landing page. So they have to give you something in exchange. So you could capture their email address, for instance. This then gives you the opportunity to market onto these people as you move forward. So you can then build this automated lead funnel where people are pushed down, and then you're not having to sit there and do it all the time. There's lots of systems out there like Force24, MailerLite that all do this for you. It's just a case of setting it up, getting the different things right. And then what that will do is produce a report. So you know when you're making those sales calls, you can prioritize the people that you're ringing. So you know who's interested in your products, you know who's clicked on certain things that you sent through that are of particular interest. And so you can just sit back and watch those leads roll in and take advantage of prioritizing those.
Katey and Del, how often should you review your content? So we're mindful that we use LinkedIn as our primary source to attract people to us. It means that I'm incredibly busy, and we work with Del all the time to say and Neil will run a program. We did the education piece, then we did the roundtable piece, and then I want people to keep coming and looking at my stuff.
Yeah.
What is there a benchmark? Is there a way that you think people get bored of things?
But to keep it fresh, so
to keep people looking at you.
Yeah, I think that ideally what you do is kind of take some of that content and host it somewhere else as well. So then you can build up this pool of content. So, you know, for instance, if you've got lots of videos, if you put them onto a YouTube channel, you can choose which videos you've shown at the end. So you can put them into different categories, and you can push people down purchase funnels that way. You could send an email out, for instance, that had like links to all of them different kind of video segments that you'd put together, and then you'd be able to flag and see who's clicked on which stream, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
So, and I'm going to touch on in a minute about what I believe in regarding, say, blockbuster content, about choosing a big topic and slicing and dicing it.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think a campaign does have longevity. There isn't necessarily an end to it, because as long as it's still a relevant topic. And so that's why we tend to pick on, or not pick on, but we tend to pick things. It's all about knowing your customers, isn't it? And knowing what their pains are. And then if the content's relevant, it's still going to be relevant. It'll just be a case of adapting it. So, for instance, we use a lot of old blogs and things. We go back over and review them and update them, and then we can recycle the content. So it's just about building that pool of content all the time. Oh, my computer's decided to stop moving now. Okay, so in terms of communication, it's about building that lead bait, which is this golden content, capturing those people's data, and then created these automated funnels to get people onto your databases. And Wayne, I have seen that you have put a chat thing in there. Is there any way we can see the video here as a case study? Yeah, we'll come. What I'll do at the end is I'll click on it and then share my screen for that. So I think the key thing to remember is to make sure that you're considering everything you do in all of your different comms platforms. So not just looking at one platform, think about how else you can touch your customers. So whether that be social, and one of the things that I talk on later is that, you know, whereas before there were some social platforms that you probably discounted, and that are probably now more relevant because of the COVID situation. So just consider all platforms when you're communicating. So James is going to, like he just mentioned, going to talk about cross-channel marketing and sales and bringing those together and share an example of something that he's been working on.
So, yeah, we all know there's a lot of noise out in the marketplace. So one of the things I've mentioned in the RDLC guide to marketing is about having blockbuster campaigns where you basically own a topic for a period of time, rather than just having a scattergun approach to lots of content. Next slide, please, Katey. So this is a campaign I had the pleasure of working with We Are Source with. It was led by Annika, so I'm not going to claim credit for this. My role was supporting, but she looked at and this isn't a topic about IR35. It's just a case where you own a particular topic, and this is how the sales funnel works around it. By looking at a topic, she says you wanted to own the topic in the marketplace, put on very good events, market those events. So the attraction stage at the top of the funnel there, it's about the awareness, it's about the education, it's about getting people to sign up to the live events and to the webinars and downloading brochures. So it was a thoroughly worked out campaign where she was the expert in the marketplace and worked in collaboration with other experts too. As mentioned about landing pages and registration, all the events, landing pages were created. So they were all new people, existing clients, prospect clients were all registered to the events, and we could start doing automated campaigns based around that. And then on top of that, further down the funnel, there was particular products that were designed around IR35 as well. So they were able to use that, the sales process, align the products to the content that was being marketed. So everything was joined up. So as I say, it was a 3-month campaign, automated campaign. It was followed up with sales, and all the data was segmented. Next slide, please, Katey. So as Izzy says, it was a key hot topic. We aligned sales and marketing together, generated leads and new prospects, and many of them converted too. Next slide.
James, can I also mention to everyone right now, talking about bounce back and attracting clients to go early would be a great subject to talk about and the benefits of. And that's something that you could start straight away. It's not asking for business, it's a tickle campaign, but you actually just know if 5 or 6 or 7 people talk about the same stuff about bounce back, it will gain momentum in the marketplace. So we could be a leader on that stuff. Yeah,
absolutely. And if we say, because it's a positive message, you say we all want a V-shaped bounce back, and this is how we can help you, and it's a positive message. So just looking at this slide here, one of the things that that was done in this particular campaign was this clear separation, segmentation between prospects and lapsed clients. We went into the marketing activity when we started getting the engagement and the leads, etc. The follow-up activity based on whether they were a prospect or a lapsed client changed on how the sales activity mapped to that as well. So that process of getting your data right, getting it clearly segmented, measuring the marketing activities, doing automated campaigns, getting that engagement, then handing over to the consultants with clear products really made this campaign work and joined up. That's me on that, Katey.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I have left those ideas. Just want to touch upon this one here as well. This is where linking through where your brand strategy can work through to your marketing. This is a brand rebranded, and as part of the brand workshop, we created a career consulting for candidates, and we came up with a name for that, and we gave it some structure, and that's now feeding into campaigns. So it's going into an email campaign. And then within that email campaign, you book that career consultation. You've got a candidate e-brochure, and then we've also linked through to an example of a career report that person would get as well. And we're just getting some traction with that in America on this particular campaign. So it's a way of developing a brand, having a product offering, and feeding that through into the marketing activity. Next one. Yeah, that was it. There's the clicks. There's still on it. Don't get scared by this, but this is just to show that when you're planning out an automated campaign in something like Force 24, you plan out the campaign based on the activity and clicks of every previous email and campaign. Therefore, you can structure the messages, the offers, the links, activity, etc., based on all the activity that your users have done on that particular campaign. So your messaging and offer is always on point because it's based on your previous activity of your clients. Next one. And just to wrap up for me, RDLC doing what we say here, and that's Gary saying about giving something away to build a relationship. Obviously, the RDLC Lite campaign, where we put the emails together, landing page, webinars, giving potential RDLC members something for free so they get a bit of an insight, and using that as a way sort of to give to convert. Any comments, Gary?
Yeah, I was brilliant.
Yeah.
We got 20% conversion off that, so it was really useful, and I bet we get more, and it also sort of changed perceptions, and we were a first mover on it. So if you get an idea, you just got to act upon it really fast. And to be fair, that costs peanuts to do against the return. But,
but
I remember
being in the marketplace to give something.
Yeah, 100%. I do remember being at a LinkedIn event, and they were telling everybody there at the time people should be spending over 10% of your turnover on marketing. By the way, we none of us spend anything like that, do we? It's crazy, but you need to invest in this stuff and just be brave.
Yeah,
that's it from me, Katey. Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, and so because we're sort of sharing stats and things, I've included in here. So a lot of you will have, I don't know why it's gone off the page, but a lot of you will have been receiving my emails. So we took our own advice, and I thought it was quite an interesting kind of stats to share. So at the beginning of COVID, we produced this free pack for everybody that we sent out. We also advertised it online, we used social media to push it. So we produced the pack, we've built email marketing funnels to push people down. So you probably would have you're probably all sick of seeing the side of my face from all these videos that I've been sending and all the videos on LinkedIn. And we built social campaigns around them. We've done, this is probably about the 16th webinar that I've done about this. And off the back of that, we've had nearly 800 people sign up to this free marketing pack. We've had around 499 people engaging with the content, moving forward, so they're at the end of the first purchase funnel, and we've had 7 sales calls, so direct calls into us, that's 1.2%. And the figure that you can't see for some reason at the bottom is we've actually converted 2 new live customers off the back of this campaign. So exactly what James says about mapping, and what I said earlier about mapping out that funnel, getting it set up, giving them valuable content at this time that will aid them. It's not about giving your services away for free. It's about giving them something of value that will help them and adapting that to whatever the situation is. And so hopefully that's something to inspire. And increasing your advertising budget, but maybe trying new things. As I mentioned earlier, lots of people, for instance, discount Facebook advertising previously. But if one of your brand objectives right now should be around just brand building and reminding people they're there, then Facebook ads can be a really, really cost-effective way to do this. You can upload your existing database into Facebook. So you can run ads that specifically target your customers or clients or candidates. And for a really, really low price, like £25, you can get exposure to about 15,000 people. So, you know, don't discount anything, and maybe it's time to think outside the box a little bit more. And things like remarketing campaigns, so serving ads to people that have visited your website, LinkedIn campaigns. I saw on LinkedIn, they're now doing a £100 voucher that you can sign up for, which gives you £100 worth of free LinkedIn advertising, but anything like that. And there's the Sky TV. I don't know if it is of interest to people, but Sky TV are giving away free TV advertising for people. So it's looking at what's out there, finding the opportunities that fit. It might be a little bit outside the box to what you were doing before, but right now it's all about adapting and jumping on something and making it happen. And that's how you're going to get ahead of this curve.
Yeah, I just add to that, of course, the beauty with the digital marketing is that, you know, you can do small experiments and measure this stuff. So even if some of the stuff doesn't work, you've done the experiment, you've got the data, you get the reports, you'll know whether that campaign has worked, whether that's worth doing again. So it's a small risk you take.
Yeah,
can I ask a question on ROI to all 3 of you? It's really important to measure ROI on an investment like this, because you need to know which bits work, which bits don't work. There's always an argument when you speak to marketeers about, James back in the days, are you getting your pound of flesh from marketing? And, you know, you might just have brand awareness that comes back and it prompts a call later and continually be in people's faces. What are the easiest ways for people to measure ROIs and stuff like this? So we used to use different emails, different phone numbers, track people with click-throughs, but make it as easy as possible, because otherwise we're gonna it'll be a potential
tracking numbers, tracking links, anything simple like that. On socials, obviously it's really easy because of it tracks it for you. You know, just keep it as simple as possible, asking people. At the end of the day, marketing is all about creating opportunities. So we can lead a horse to water, but it is then down to you to convert that sale. So, you know, I think that's one of the things that people struggle with most in the difference between like sales and marketing is we can create the opportunity, but ultimately you guys are going to be the end people responsible for following up on that sale.
add as well that one of the big sort of bone of contention is also saying, well, what value is that client lead or that candidate brought into the sales process? It's been debated on and on. So if marketing generate a candidate and that generates a 6K commission, what percentage of that deals come from marketing? So obviously, Wayne, you've done some work around that, but I think there needs to be some sort of an RDLC agreement around that so that you can start to measure ROI. Because unless you can put a number on that, you can't measure the ROI, because it's hard enough trying to figure out the ROI based on the attribution. Was that from an email? Was it from a sales call? Did the LinkedIn click lead to the deal, or was it the email? And that's really tricky in itself, all that attribution part of it. But then you've got to agree as well, where did that candidate come from? Did it come from marketing? And if so, what part of the deal should we allocate to that?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay, so LinkedIn, now's a great time to update your profile, make sure it's on point. I know that you guys have all done LinkedIn training before, so researching your customers is another good time to start doing that. If you do have more time on your hands, researching, getting a list of customers ready, and start a campaign to connect to people. So just really simple connection campaigns can work really nicely at this time. Don't make them fully sales. Find a reason to connect with them. You've got a little bit more time, hopefully, to start building them connections and relationships. SEO and pay-per-click is another thing that everybody should be looking at. So you can run search reports in Google, you can research your competitors and see what keywords they're using, and obviously be mindful to review and manage any existing campaigns. It goes back to that list of pains again. So your customers' pains may have changed due to the current climate. So you need to be mindful of that and adapt any campaigns that you have going on at the present time. Another great thing to do is to check out all your online listings. How often do we Google ourselves? Probably not enough. Check out, Google yourself. Google. Maybe not you, Gary. Google your company name, should I say?
Gary Goldsmith is on Google Alert.
Check out where all your online listings are, make a list of them, and then maximize them, because there's probably a huge amount of listings out there for you that aren't being used as effectively as they could be. So now is a good time to go through and update and maximize any listings that are out there. Gathering customer reviews, so send out requests for testimonials, get some net promoter scores back in that you can use on your marketing. Now's a really good time to be putting out positive messaging. So anything like that that you can get hold of will aid you for building this kind of nice feeling around your company for when people start to come back. Okay, and then just in terms of opportunities that we've kind of been looking at, in terms of marketing your way out of COVID-19 and where the opportunities lie for you guys. So obviously, there's a big thing about seizing the opportunity to recruit teams for people to drive their businesses forward. Lots of businesses have pivoted during this time, so they may need new skill sets, they may need new teams, and there's a huge opportunity there. Business owners are going to be using this opportunity of furloughing and restructuring to restructure a lot of people and functions within their business. So again, that creates an opportunity for you. Using you guys to build a team can work really well as well. It's a hard job for any kind of in-house recruiter to build a team, so they can use you guys as additional resource to help them with that. It's a time for people to build their tech team, their dream team. More people have become available with this working from home. It widens the pool of candidates. You can help meet new business requirements, so where they've pivoted with their team to support. You can take advantage of candidates that weren't open before to offers. Using an agency, so lots of people have been furloughed. It will be cheaper and cost effective if they have smaller projects to use you guys than perhaps bring people back off furlough. So furlough's been extended now to October. So that again creates another opportunity for you. And just keep on reminding them of what the benefits of using and the reasons for using you guys. You know, you've got unlimited access to this amazing talent. You've got all the expertise that they can take advantage of. You can be that flexible resource or support as they need it. You can assist them with things like positioning of their brand, employer branding. You can be that voice in the ear of that candidate that they've always dreamed of receiving. And then you obviously bring a lot of recruitment knowledge, so things like salaries, legislations, hiring skills, all of that. So it's really pushing all of those benefits in a good way to your candidates and finding ways that you can harness into your clients now and be that support network to them to help them see a way of them recruiting their way out of this COVID-19 situation. The last thing we want people to do is to close their doors. So I think that brings us to a close in terms of the presentation. As I said, a lot of the stuff that I've referenced is in relation to this marketing pack. And if anybody doesn't have that pack, then if you either comment or email me, I can get that sent over. Emma's got a copy as well. And then hopefully the things I've talked about will make more sense. I'm sure James is more than happy to as well. Hang on, let me stop sharing. James is more than happy to answer any questions. We've had a couple of, Wayne, shall I show your case study now?
It's not my case study, that's it's Danny Herbert's. It's the one that Gary was talking about.
Did you want to have a look at that now, Gary?
No, can we do just some questions?
Yeah.
Because I think that if we do that video, it's about 4 minutes long, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Okay, right.
Yeah. I've got one for you while you're reading.
Yeah.
Why don't blogs get as many views and likes as posts do?
LinkedIn, Gary?
Yeah. It's almost like I just stopped bothering for a bit, and then
because part of it, your social the data on posts just shows how it's been in someone's timeline, so it automatically goes into someone's timeline. Whereas reading an article, someone has to click onto that to then go and read it. So a post is just part of the rainfall on someone's timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still doesn't explain the likes though.
I would say, that what we tend to do is if you've got like a long piece of content, we tend to put it on someone's website and then do it as posts through to that. So you're driving people to your website in the first fold. Secondly, it's shorter posts on your social platforms. And so you're creating more engagement, more people will see it, and then you'll get more click-throughs as well. Okay,
that's brilliant. I also think a lot of people like stuff on LinkedIn and don't look at it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? I'm just reading the questions here. Keyshaw, yeah, that's fine. I'll send that over. We've recently changed our marketplace. Should I be clearing out some of my connections on LinkedIn and disconnecting people that are no longer relevant? Yes. It's always good to do a bit of a cull on LinkedIn if you've changed sector and pivoted, then I would say, but also with LinkedIn, it's all about like the connections on as well, isn't it? So, I don't think it does any harm. People will naturally fall to the wayside if you change the type of content that you're issuing and sending out. But if you've changed from one sector to another, what you'll probably find is that you'll lose a few people anyway, because they'll see you as not being relevant anymore.
Yeah, so I would just say on that point, if you're moving market and you want to be seen to be part of a community as a new one, then there would be an argument for doing a little bit of a cull, because if that old community is no longer relevant and people are assessing you by the company that you keep, then they say, okay, well, these guys seem to be, that legacy system, and I want to deal with these, cutting edge guys. So that would be the argument to sort of cull them.
Yeah. Okay. Can I get the copy? Thanks for Katey. I was a little late. Could you send over the full slide deck? Yeah, I'll send over the full slide deck, Katey. Also, what do you think of podcasts? We have a couple of people that we work with that use podcasts, and they've actually seen like quite a big increase in people listening. I think you know, certainly at the minute, people have more time on their hands. People are going for longer walks because it seems to be the only thing that you can do. So podcasts have actually been quite popular, and you'll notice the popularity of things start to appear more on like radio and things. You know, I keep constantly hearing adverts for podcasts on the radio now. So I definitely would say it's something to kind of look into, test it, see if it works, see what kind of uptake you get on that.
Yeah, and I would say if you choose a particular topic and you do a good job of becoming the expert in that particular topic, then making a podcast out of it is just one more channel to throw into the mix of your testing. So the important thing is knowing what your clients want, being the expert in the marketplace, and then repackaging that expertise across those different channels and testing and measuring what's going to work for you. So you'd be able to find out for yourself whether a podcast works based on the content you're producing and testing and your metrics.
Yeah, I think the important thing, like James says, is to have a plan of what it is that you're trying to achieve, and then map it out from that and find out where your customers are. So if, for instance, you're considering running something on a particular platform, if you've got some really good customers that you've got great relationships with, maybe ask them their opinion, rather than sort of waste lots of time investing in something. You know, if they're your ideal kind of target customer, ask them. You know, we say this all the time to people when they ask us, like, is there time to kind of post on social and things, and we say, well, have you asked your customers? Because actually they're probably living the same lifestyle as the majority of your target customers. So if they're tending to be online between 8 and 10 in the evening, or, you know, then it gives you a plan to start testing with, rather than starting from scratch. And someone else has just asked about company LinkedIn pages, and it seems that people seem to interact a lot more with personal pages than company pages. Yeah, 100%. You will always get that, purely because people buy from people. I think there is still value in the company page, but I think, like Gary said earlier, it's quality over quantity. There's no need to be putting stuff on a company LinkedIn page every couple of hours. You know, it's just kind of managing it. It's a way to link together employees. People do still check it out when you're reviewing a company. They will look at your LinkedIn company page. So it's definitely worth maintaining, because, like we said, there's nothing worse than going onto a page and it being not updated for a year.
Also, Katey, I would say that there's a way that the algorithm works on LinkedIn where a post will be given more power from a personal post on LinkedIn page rather than a company page. So there's a way that LinkedIn works. That's why personal activity gets more engagement.
Can I ask you a question while you're cruising there? The best advice I've ever had about building personal brand was to have 3 things that you're famous for, and then make sure that all of your content goes out that aligns that. Do you still feel the same, that that's the way to do it for a business? And just like, rather than just one thing, just 3 things, and you know, you bang on about those 3 things in different ways and styles, but it's 3 things.
I've not heard, I'll be honest, I've not heard the 3 things. I think certainly, like, when you're putting together your USPs, you would want to use that as the basis. And, you know, I would see everybody's, one of their USPs would be as setting themselves as an expert in whichever niche they're working in. And then certainly everything that you put out should always be with that in mind.
As far as the number 3, yeah, the 3 is used in communications, the power of 3, so people can understand 3 choices. I've not heard about, the personal branding aspect about it, but limiting your messages to 3 items, and in navigation on a website as well, limiting it to 3. The brain can only handle 3 things at a time, so 3 is a good number to work on.
It's the magic number. I was also just wanting to talk about video as well. So if you were to have a professional video shoot for a day, you could probably do 3 or 4 2-minute videos out of that. And out of those 3 or 4 videos, you'll be able to nick loads of small soundbite clips. So that could be content from one video shoot, could give you content for a month.
Yeah,
and if we're trying to, and I mean, believe it or not, I'm trying to turn my LinkedIn volume down and just say bigger things and noisier things, and stop calling people dicks. But it's, you know, I'm working process. But I'm trying to limit everything I do. I want RDLC to represent 3 things. I want me to represent 3 things, and it's just making my life just so much easier. But the professional video stuff, and also once you get that pile of videos on YouTube, you can repurpose it. Like Neil spends ages repurposing that stuff over and over again, and it's, you know, I'm just paying for edit time then.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's like we talked. Content doesn't, I think, and people sometimes confuse the word content, thinking that it has to be a blog, or content can be anything that you want it to be. It could be video, podcast. And it is then just trying to maximize the effectiveness of it. So for instance, like one blog, you could probably make 10 social media posts out of it. You could make a video about it, you know, and then you could bit sound bites out of that video, and then you could post it onto other bloggers' pages, and you could submit it as a press release. You know, it's taking that one thing that you do and trying to maximize the effectiveness of it across the board.
Do you see any value in press and working with, you know, the grown-up media, the ugly newspapers, and you're getting articles about your brand in
you're a larger brand, but you think most people are working a particular niche.
Yeah.
So trade publication would probably be sufficient, and you could probably do that yourself. So, you know, Gary, back in the days of computing, Computer Weekly, etc., or particular niche website stuff. So major media publications like the FT and Sunday Times, I would have thought, unless you're a larger company working in a mainstream area, it's probably not so useful to you, because you're working a particular niche, and that niche will have its own trade publications.
Yeah,
I agree. Would it be easier that anybody who has now had a question answered, they just unmute themselves and speak?
Yeah, absolutely.
Use it or lose it.
Anyone know of a way of scheduling posts on LinkedIn?
Yeah, so you can use Hootsuite.
Hootsuite does LinkedIn, does it?
Yeah, yeah, and that's free, up to 3 platforms. But when you search for it, put into Google Hootsuite free account, because if you just put in Hootsuite, it will try and sell you down this free trial route.
We've already paid for work for it for a year anyway.
Yeah.
We got sucked into that exact rabbit hole. It ran too late.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I'll be able to talk you through that, Jamie.
Great, cheers, James.
We use eClincher, if anyone wants an alternative to Hootsuite.
eClincher.
eClincher, yeah.
Were all the good names gone?
Hang on, this one. Oh, there you go. Thanks, Wayne.
Can I say, when your wife comes and gives you a glass of champagne, something's gone well, isn't it? All right, babes. Oh shit! What have you? Yeah, what have you bought?
Yeah. Oh, don't.
I've got another bit of advice for anyone. Katey, when you said businesses are reorganising, well, so are we. I think it's a great time to refine one of your products that you go in front of customers to say, we could be your alternative TA team right now. Yeah. So expand upon your outsourced in-house option. Speak to CTOs, because not only will you save the money with the recruitment part, they can actually save a couple of salaries going back.
Yeah.
So,
and if anyone wants a brochure on that, just give me a shout.
Shameless. Any more questions? 3, 2, 1. Well, can I just say thank you very much? I thought it was really in depth. I loved it. I've actually got 3 things I need to speak to you about, James. And I just do think I think you guys have shown yourself to be proper experts in those stuff. So I'm sure that if anybody wants a marketing partner and they can't find anybody else,
but if they're busy, give me a call. Brilliant.
Thank you guys, appreciate as ever.
Thank you.
I wish everybody
I've recorded this, so I'll send you the link, and everybody that's put in their email addresses into the chat, I'll make sure that you get the packs this afternoon.
Right. Well, look, I wish everyone peace and love this weekend. Can you hear the builders going off? Namaste all, and see you on the other side.
Yeah.
Thanks, Phil. Thanks for organising.
Pleasure. Always.
Bye.
Guys,
Bye.